Uh, Greetings, leaders, and it's a pleasure again to connect with all of you tonight. Cohort 34 and cohort 35 will have a combined discussion today. This being our final class, module 16. It has been a long journey, but I'm sure it has been an exciting one on my end. I believe probably the same on your side as well. So I want to take the opportunity just to acknowledge your presence and to welcome you. And maybe just to confirm, if you can get me clear on your end, if you could just unmute and just confirm or just send a message, then we'll be able to proceed with our discussion tonight. Okay, so just confirm. You can send a message, you can unmute and just say hello, whichever way you feel you are comfortable with. Thank you, George. Thank you, Christine. Great. Thank you, Jacqueline. I guess we are able to get each other very well. And we straight away, we'll just make a prayer, then we'll be able to start our deliberation. Let's pray. God, thank you. We give you glory and honor for this wonderful opportunity that you have accorded us every week to sit down together with the leaders, have a discussion, think through, and with that desire to become better as leaders. We pray even as we conclude the masterclass, the coursework tonight. We want to, first of all, to appreciate you and give you thanks, glory, and honor, Lord. And we pray tonight, even as we continue with this conversation, may you guide us, oh God. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Good. So here we are, and today we are concluding with module 16. But we want to take stock of what we did last week, the two modules, module 15 and module 14. If you can recall, module 14 was a very, very important discussion focusing on mentorship, the power of mentorship and succession in leadership. And then we moved on to module 15, where we discussed on the power of personal development and growth in leadership. So those two topics are very key. Actually, level 3, we normally talk about the core leadership competencies. And the two modules are part of what we are handling in module in level 3. So could we just probably together have a very brief recap on one. We start with lesson 14, the power of mentorship, including the issues of succession. And I think we really discussed quite a number of things. I'll invite you just to be able to reflect back and just be free to share any reflection from that session as we build up to tonight's discussion. So a number of things that we mentioned. I think one, it was why should we mentor? We talked about why we should mentor. We defined what mentorship is, and we also talked about some frameworks that we could adopt for mentorship. So we may just need to pick a few things, then be able to move on. One of the things that we say that leadership is not a dash. Let me put there a dash. Leadership is not a dash. It's a marathon relay race. Yeah, leadership is not dash. It's a marathon relay race. I don't know if you can pick up that dash, what it was. Yeah, and the emphasis here was that leadership is a marathon. It's a marathon, and as we run, the main point or the main area of focus is to grow, maximize your capacity, but also be very conscious that the other people that you're running together with and therefore it's a continuous journey. So you run, you are able to pass to the other person is able to pick the baton, run, pass. And that's really what helps us to maintain synergy, and also to achieve much. Because if I run, for example, if I'm competing with another team and the other team is passing the baton and I'm not passing, then within some time I'll be exhausted. I'll not be able to compete because maybe my energy would have been depleted by the many rounds. And those ones that are changing, they are passing the baton, are able to run faster. And I think I compared this to the developing and the developed countries, especially those developing countries that have issues with leadership, where we have maybe a president sitting for, I don't know, many years. So at some point, that country probably gets to a point where they stagnate in some cases. Yeah, while other countries are very robust in terms of how they pass the batons, how they rejuvenate the system, how they re-engineer the system, then they keep on growing. They keep on asking themselves, how can we do better? So anybody who could point out that dash could be, what that missing gap, even if it's just a guess. Yeah. So basically, we say leadership is not a sprint. It's not a sprint. I run to pass. Yeah, and it's a marathon relay race. When we were concluding, we talked about the 5 steps of leadership development or mentorship development. Could we also reflect on those 5 steps? What were those 5 steps? If you can remember just any of the steps, not necessarily all of them, maybe just one of them. What were those 5 steps that we talked about in terms of mentorship? Yeah. So when you are working a mentor and mentee, there are 5 steps that are important in the mentorship journey. What were those 5 steps? Anybody who could attempt, either on the chat or just unmute and share? Okay. Any attempt? Elroy, any attempt? Any guess on this? Doreen, George?
I think we talked about creating trust and creating a rapport as a starting point where before you even undertake to mentor, also sharing vision where you want to go with your mentee. If I might say, my memory serves me right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, George. Okay, thank you for that. Jacqueline, any attempt? Michael, in addition to what George has said. Yeah, so this was this was actually the 5 steps, where we start in the first step where you are actually the one who is on the steering wheel, you're the one who is guiding, you're the one who is undertaking the tasks. Yeah, so you are doing, and your mentor is just watching, but you keep on having a conversation. Yeah. Then we proceed to the next step, where again you're still the one who is in control. You're the one who is guiding. Your mentee now is helping you, so you're now collaborating. You keep on having a conversation. Then you get to the third step, when now the mentee takes up, is the one who is acting, is the one who is undertaking the tasks. And at that particular time, again, now the mentor starts to help. We keep on the conversation. We move on. The mentee still guide. The mentee is still the one taking up charge. The mentor is now watching. We keep on having a conversation, and then the mentor passes that mentee now to someone else. The mentee now becomes the mentor. So it's just a way of looking at a practical scenario on how we be able to effectively be able to mentor. So a number of other things that we talked about mentorship. Any other comment that you may want to add to this conversation about mentorship before we move on to personal development as part of the recap? We could make it continuous. So maybe anything that you could reflect on. I know, George, you have added the issue of sharing the vision as part of what we discussed last week. We moved on to lesson 15, the power of personal development. This one, I think I'll not really take a lot of time here. There is a word we used last week, stretch. And each letter means something when it comes to personal development. I want to invite you just to focus on that word, the word stretch. What does it mean in reference to personal development? Starting with the S. What does S stand for? What does T stand for? R, E, all the way. What do they stand for? Not necessarily in any order. You could just pick any word and that you can remember. Then we reflect on that, because we said growth involves stretching. So what does that stretch mean? Let's again just reflect on this briefly. On the chart again, any word that you can connect to the word stretch. You can pick any letter, either on the chart or just unmute, mention. Yeah, any attempt may not be the exact word. Yes, Jacqueline, you're right. Sacrifice. We said growth comes with sacrifice. Yeah, growth comes with sacrifice. So S is sacrifice. And we said actually even for us to work together for the 12 weeks, it's a total sacrifice. It's a trade-off. And we have to sacrifice probably some other activities for us to be able to engage. T is time. Yeah, growth takes time. That's why we have to work together for the 12 weeks. Yeah, that's time. So growth takes time. And I shared that story of the Chinese bamboo tree. Yeah, the Chinese bamboo tree, the seed, it stays on the ground for 5 years without anything showing up. But after 5 years, there is a very, very fast growth that follows. Thank you for that. Yes, Jacqueline, tenacity. We said again, you have to keep on pressing on, you have to persevere, we have to be very determined for us to ensure that we continue in our growth path. Yeah, thank you. So we have sacrifice, we have time, we have tenacity. Maybe I could pick one more from the word stretch. Anybody who could add one more? Then we move on to tonight's discussion. Michael, I see your comment, do more than expected. Yes, environment. E is an environment. We need to be in an environment that is captivating, environment that is able to challenge us to grow, challenge us to sometimes even move from a very comfort environment to an environment that we we are able to grow, because growth, again, stretching means sometimes going beyond the comfort zone. Growth again requires patience, yeah, and that is why we talked about resilience. Yeah, resilience. R is a resilience. To be resilient, there are those factors that we talked about, the 4 factors: resilience. Yeah, we talked about focus. You have to be able to focus, maintain focus on a particular area, and also focus in terms of noting in case there are any distractions, so that we are not distracted on our growth path. So I think that's good enough for now. Today we want to talk about a very important topic again that really helps a leader to be able to share the vision, share the ideas, and also build a stronger team. Help the leader to also scale up the success of our leadership. And we are talking about the power of effective communication. The power of effective communication. This is a determinant factor, because I can have a great vision, but I need to be able to share that vision. I need to be able to sell that vision, yeah, so that I get to work with people, because we said when a vision requires a team, a vision requires a leader to be able to have people to work together, and to attract those people, the element of how effectively communicate the vision becomes the determinant factor. Yeah, so effective communication is critical for leadership, as we shall see today. And that's a major success factor to any particular leader. So we're going to look at this topic, leaders, and allow me to start with a short clip. Look at this clip, start reflecting on effective communication. This clip will be able to point out a number of things that relates to effective communication. So just make some observation, look at it, then you can be able to share your reflection after the clip. So let's look at the clip and then we share our reflection. Great. What do you observe from that clip on this discussion of effective communication? What are some of the observations that you can pick from that clip, this topic? I want to invite a few reactions. Some few reactions. What do you observe from that clip? I start with George. George, any observation on that clip?
Yeah, there is the power of communication, effective communication. We have seen that the instructions that were given to the first recipient was distorted by the time it was getting to the last person. Thank you.
Yeah, there was some distortion along the chain. Yeah. Christine, are you in a position to share some reflection?
Yeah, mine is maybe to second what George has said. The message was distorted as it went down the chain. And I would contribute it to the source of the communication. I don't know how well he had prepared the entire team to get the concept of what he intended to communicate. So I think there's a very big gap of passing the message to the intended recipient.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So how well the team was prepared to be able to pass the message. Yeah. Madam Wamuyu, any comment on this? And I think I also invite Pastor Michael. Any comment on this?
Thank you, sir. I think for me, I think the ability to communicate one-on-one and also to the entire team is very, very important. Not just a leader. As a leader, you must be able to communicate one-on-one and also the entire team so that the message is passed across, the same message gets to everyone, the entire team, and also one-on-one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Oliver, I see your comment. The information is being distorted small by small. Yeah. As one gets or understands is different from the other, hence it ends up being different from the main information. So the source, just think about maybe this was a very, very critical message being passed. And by the time it gets to the last person within the organization, it has trickled from the CEO. By the time it gets to the last person in that hierarchy, the person misinterprets the message totally. That could really have a very negative impact in the operations of the organization. So it's good as leaders in management. We talk about management by walking around or by moving around. That sometimes we have to move around and just be able to get the feel of the ground, get the feel on the ground. Sometimes even just to confirm if you passed a memo, was it interpreted correctly? Yeah. Was there some distortion? Did everybody get the message clearly? So the longer the chain, again, the more we might require to do a lot of checks in between to ensure that the message that is passed is correct. So we're going to talk about this tonight, the power of effective communication, and just to see how critical this role is to every leader. Jim Rohn, one of the great speaker and author, he said that effective communication is 20% what you know and 80% how you feel, or even how you pass that message. So I might have the knowledge, but now how I pass, how I transmit that information becomes one of the key determinant on how effectively the information is passed. So knowing is very important, but again, you're saying passing that information is really, really important. Think of a professor who has gone through the ladder. You have a lot of knowledge, but now the determinant factor is, can I communicate this message? Can I pass this knowledge to other people? So this is important, just to really appreciate how critical communication is. And George Bernard Shaw said the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. That assumption that since I said it, they got it. Yeah. Since I said it, they got it. Since I released the memo, they got it. Since I sent the email, they got it and understood me. That's one of the biggest problems in communication. And that's why it's good to do some checks along the chain once in a while, just to be able to confirm. It could be a phone call. It could be a walk around. It could be any channel, any channel that is workable for you. And that will help to ensure that we're able to confirm in terms of the information that you intended to share the same across the chain. So there's what we call the main question in communication. The main question in communication. Yeah, what do I want people to know? How should they feel? Yeah, and what should they do? This is like a summary of what you're going to talk to tonight. The summary of what we are discussing tonight. So every time I'm communicating, this is the question that I ask myself. What do I want my audience to know or my team to know? And how should they feel? What do I want to trigger from that message? And then what action do I expect from my team? And that kind of communication is, we could say it's actually complete, because you have a message that they should be able to know. There is what you expect them to to feel from the message, and there is also an action that you expect them to take. There's a research that was done, and it showed that leaders spend 80% of their time on communication. And I invite you just to think about this research and reflect it from your own personal experience. How much time do you spend in communication? Either it's verbal, either it's face to face, maybe it's email. So this, according to this research, leaders spend 80% of their time communicating. And therefore, developing this skill is crucial, for the success of every leader. We're saying effective communication is vital to a leader's success. I don't know if you concur that we spend roughly 80% of our time communicating. I think for me, if I reflect, I could say it's true. From the kind of planning that we do, even around this masterclass, there's a lot that goes to setting up everything. A lot goes into communication. So just think about it also in your own case. So we have emphasized how important communication is from the very beginning. You remember, leaders, we talked about the 4 core leadership skills that are important for every leader. And you will note that communication was among these skills that we talked about. Self-awareness that came out, we had a discussion earlier. We talked about influence and also learning agility. And other research, there are other surveys that have been done. And again, the issue of communication still keeps on coming up. Indicating that this is an area that there is a gap. This is one of the study by NBO Group. It showed 63% of all the respondents indicated that there is a high need for leaders who communicate effectively. There was also another article, Fortune magazine article, which indicated that communication is one of 5 critical leadership factors. So it's an area that is very important, and yet is also an area where it's noticed that there is a gap. And that really brings us to where we are today, where we are tonight, that we need to have a conversation about this topic. Gilbert Amelio said that developing excellent communication skills is essential to effective leadership. The leader must be able to share knowledge, ideas, and also a vision, and to transmit that in a sense of urgency and enthusiasm so that we're able to influence. If a leader cannot get a message across clearly and in a motivating way, then having a message does not even matter. So having a message is 20%. Being able to pass that message effectively is 80%. And this was also echoed by John C. Maxwell, that I'm convinced more than ever that good communication and leadership are all about connecting. Communication is about connecting. I transmit the message to ensure we are able to converge. Our ideas are able to converge. The idea I had has been passed. And therefore, maybe we could now we are in a position to be able to see the same thing, all of us, where we need to have a common view. So if you can connect with others, either be it one-on-one or in any other setup, your relationship will become stronger. So communication helps us to have stronger relationship. Your sense of community improves. Your ability to create teamwork increases. So we're able to have a more cohesive team. We're able to build teamwork through effective communication. It also increases our level of influence, and more importantly, the productivity also increases. So those are just some of the advantages why we need to focus on this particular area of how to communicate effectively. There's an article for Center for Creative from the Center for Creative Leadership, and they talk about 5 ways to communicate effectively. One is that as a leader or a communicator, I need to communicate relentlessly. Yeah. Sometimes just saying it once may not be adequate. Probably I may need to sometimes communicate more than once, depending with the scenario. Simplicity, very important. Again, nowadays is what we call the information overload. So I need to ensure that I pass the message in a simple way, in a direct way. I need to listen and encourage input where it's possible to use story for illustration, where it's possible to use action for illustration. Then I need to use actions as well. And Stephen Covey, he said that seek first to understand, then to be understood. In any effective communication, this is very, very important. Yeah, this is so important because it helps me to be able to really get the whole picture, get the whole perspective of the other person before I can be able to formulate my own perspective and also give my response. So it's good to have the patience to be able to really get the whole perspective before I can be able to respond. So according to him, as an effective leader needs to seek first to understand and then to be understood. This is a big test. This is really a big, big test for any communicator. There are many times we listen and already we are formulating a response, and sometimes you realize I have missed out the perspective of the other person. I really didn't get the whole perspective of the other person. So I think this is critical because effective communication also comes with the ability to be able to listen effectively as well. So there are components of element of communication just to help us have a view and appreciate the components of communication. You will see from the communication iceberg that 7 to 10% is communication skills level. Yeah, but 90 to 93% is what we communicate, sometimes not through words, but through emotions, through the attitude. Yeah, and you can see that the body language contributes to 55% of successful communication or effective communication. Language, the choice of language, am I going to use English, Swahili, or any other language? That's 7%. Then the paralanguage, yeah, the way in which we pass the message or say the particular words in terms of volume, in terms of pitch, in terms of speaking rate, voice quality, that's 38%. Yeah, so I think you cannot hear how body language is critical and how it communicates. It's really critical for us to be able to communicate effectively as leaders. And this was confirmed again from this other source: body and facial, 55%, tone and inflection, the paralanguage that we have talked about, 37, words, 8%. So with this understanding, I think I become very keen to observe my body language. One, because I see the contribution it has towards effective communication. 55% is quite a huge, it's quite huge. That's more than half just for the body language alone. Yeah, and then tone and inflection, paralanguage, how I'm able to balance my voice, my voice volume, speaking rate, and all that. That's 37 to 38%. Yeah, so I think this is important just to observe so that we are able to create a balance even as we communicate. There are 5 leadership principles on our manual on effective communication. One, we are saying leadership equals communication. The real work of leadership is communication. Yeah, and this is one of the critical roles. And you see from that research that was done, 80% of a leader's role is to communicate. And therefore, all leaders, we ought to be communicators, or all leaders should be able to communicate effectively. Because leaders will remember that in the DNA of a leader, one, you have a vision. How do I pass this vision? How do I communicate this vision? So communication is the real work of leadership. And good leadership will always start with good communication. And my vision or that particular project that I'm running could rise or fall based on my ability to communicate. Yeah. So it's a determinant factor when it comes to success factor. Among the success factors of a leader, then effective communication takes it takes a big share in contributing to the success of a leader. Number two, effective communicators, they need to understand, or they understand the purpose, that is the why, the method, that's the how, and the outcome, or what they expect, the expected result. So we need to address the issue of why am I communicating? Then how do I communicate? And finally, what message do I want people to get from my communication? So an effective communicator has to clarify this beforehand. Yeah. And this really makes it very easy to have a very logical flow in terms of how we are able to form to organize our message. So effective communication strategies will always start with the purpose and expectation. What is my purpose of this message, and what do we expect? Yeah. So think about purpose first, and that will lead you to be able to select the right method, and also to be able to ensure that we pass the message effectively. There are some examples there. One, maybe you may be communicating just to inform, or I'm communicating to instruct, or I'm communicating to persuade. And I want to pose a question here, and I'll invite a response from you leaders. If you're communicating just to inform, what could be the appropriate channel or appropriate method of communication? Yeah, just to inform. Which method will you go for? Or which method do you normally use when you're communicating just to inform? Could I get just one response, either on the chat or just unmute and share? Yeah, I can see a written memo. A written memo could do for that, because again, we are saying it's one-way communication. Is there any other that we could add to this? Yeah, we could do an email, could do a signpost. Yeah, and the signpost, I think here, this one will also do very well, because this one you don't really expect a response unless you put the contact number and you get a response in another way. So I think this is good enough. How about when you want to persuade, communicating to persuade? Maybe you're selling your vision and you want to persuade some buy into your vision. What could be the right or the appropriate channel or method of communication? Yeah, I can do verbally. Yes, Oliver, thank you. Yeah, verbally, just be able to pass either one-on-one or in groups. Anybody else? Yeah, so we have verbally, and I think this is quite appropriate. Could call for a meeting, could engage one-on-one, because again, it's persuading. So engagement is really important on to achieve that. Yeah, so Zooming, wow, that's also appropriate. So then we move on to how. What is the method? And this is what we are talking about, to make your purpose clear. Yeah, and we're saying keep procedure brief, focus on quality, not quantity. That's in any communication, it's about it's about quality. There are many times you're listening to someone and you feel like this person has already given the message, and any additional communication may not really make any difference, may not add any value. So it's good to tell when do I stop, when have I said enough. Yeah. So know your audience and also understand the expectation. And this is really important. In any workshop, we always start with this because we want to ensure we align ourselves with the audience. Yeah, we don't want to engage with an audience that we are not meeting the expectation. So we can address the issue of the expectation on the during the meeting or even before. We could collect the expectation early in advance. That's the same thing we do when we're registering for the masterclass. And also perspectives vary, so it's good to communicate with an open mind. You might even realize a better idea coming up in the meeting, and you have to also review your own perspective. Principle number 3, only effective communicators are able to connect, inspire, and influence. We said communication is about connecting. If I'm transmitting a message, I'm transmitting an idea, I'm transmitting a vision, I want to ensure that we connect. I'm able to pass that message until we are aligned. What I was visualizing, now the other people can also be able to visualize. So it's about connecting. It's about also inspiring. Yeah, it's about inspiring. And it's also about influencing. So capturing a vision or an idea is one thing. Communicating that vision in an inspirational, influential manner is another major task that only effective communicators are able to achieve. Yeah, this is, as I said, it's one of the success factors of any of a leader. If we get it right, you realize our success rate goes really high. So communication has come out across even in the definitions of leadership. Remember, we looked at some of the definition of leadership, and we were seeing the issue of communication coming up in those definitions, just to emphasize how important it is. Again, communication differentiates performance, especially where we need to boost our hard skills. So we enhance that by ensuring we build the soft skills. Engineers, the technical teams, the IT, and all these other engineering fields. This is one of the areas that, again, will be able to boost the hard skills. Even accountant or whatever hard skills or whatever profession requires to be boosted with some soft skills. And the soft skills include communication, includes collaboration, and many others. And this is, you will notice that a person who has been able to balance the hard skill and the soft skills, sometimes they're able even to rise up on the ladder quite easily, because on a certain level, again, it's about how do we communicate what we know or what we expect to be done. So effective interpersonal skills also enhances relationships, networking, and collaboration. So for us to ensure that we build a cohesive team, again, now that depends with how we're able to keep that team together, and that comes down to issues of communication as well. So there are 3 qualities of an effective communicator. But before we discuss these 3 qualities, allow me just to play a clip. Yeah, and let's watch this clip, and we'll just share some observation on the clip. Then we'll move on to discuss the 3 qualities of an effective communicator. So let's watch this keenly, then we share our reflection on the clip. Good. That's just one case that we can refer to as we discuss this critical topic on effective communication. And I think it's fair enough just to reflect on that story together. Any observation we can make from that, either from what we have already discussed so far, or any additional comment besides what we have discussed that you can observe from that clip relating to this discussion tonight? Maybe I could invite a few just to share. Mary, are you in a position where you could share your reflection?
Yes.
Yes, Mary. Any observation you can share?
One thing I can, yes, from the talk, I can see one quality that the reader was audible, and he focused his aim on toward his goals of reading the country, and the communication was effective, and everyone could understand his message. I think that is much that I've gotten from it.
Thank you so much, Mary. K on the chat, I can see passion and expert. Wow. Pastor Michael, you have actually summarized the next topic that we are going to discuss. Audience focused, inspiring hope. I can say is simple and direct. Simple and direct. Yeah. Ability to connect with everyone. You could see the attention, the focus. You know, there are times maybe a speaker could engage and you notice that the audience are no longer with the speaker. But in this case, you could see the attention, the focus, and also him turning around, just ensuring that he's able to have a view of everyone that he's talking to. And also, another thing that I can mention is adaptability. We saw him speaking to different groups, and in each group he could relate. Sometimes he could tell a story. I am a black, I'm a black, I am a Kenyan, and all that, trying to relate. I'm a black a person, a Kenyan, and at that particular time, maybe he was talking to the Black Americans or people from Africa, just trying to make sure that we are able to relate. So, Christine, I see your message is well connected with his audience. He had the right message for the context, the right message for the context. So, I think that's really good. Thank you for that. And that brings us to these three qualities of an effective communicator, which again you have already summarized from your submission. One, as an effective communicator, I need to be audience focused. Yeah, my attention is on the audience, so audience focused. More of audience, less of you. And I need to approach everything in terms of my presentation from an audience-centered perspective. Think beyond myself, how I look, how I feel, or how especially the moment I get on stage. I think all this now becomes non-issues. Even if maybe I didn't feel like I have put on my best, or there's something went wrong, maybe along the way, but that now becomes a non-issue. The issue now, I need to deliver. I need to deliver. Probably I'm the only one who is noticing my dress has an issue somewhere. So I should not allow that to again distract me. So it's about engaging the audience. It's about how do I ensure I connect with the audience. So everything, it's about focusing on the audience. And as I do this, I'm asking myself questions. What information does my audience need to know so that I convey what is relevant? I saw Kristen talking about the speaker had the right message for the context. Yeah, he was able to fit within the context. Yeah, so present information. How do I present information and be able also to connect? Yeah, what is the best approach that will help me to connect with the audience? And it's about what do they want to know, what is their goal, and how do I help them to be able to achieve their goal. So one, as an effective communicator, my attention is on audience. I'm audience focused. Very, very important. Number two, it's the issue of passion. And again, you have already mentioned this. This one will reflect through how we convey the message. Yeah. If I want to sell my message, I first have to be the first buyer of my message. If I want to sell a vision, then I need to have bought into that vision. It has to be in me. It has to be inscribed deeply in me so that I can easily be able to describe it to other people and also invite them to be able to subscribe to the message. So your first and my first task as a leader is to be able to buy into my message, into my vision, into my idea before I can be able to sell it out. And that one will come out one way through passion, how passionate I am in conveying that message. So if I'm not passionate, again, it will also come out. Yeah. So if I'm not passionate, the audience will also be able to pick it out. Yeah, they'll be able to read some signals. Maybe the facial expression, the body language will give some signals if I'm not really bought into the message. So passion, it's about buying first into my message, then being able to convey that message, and using all the components that we have talked about, especially the body language that has 55% in terms of successful or effective communication. Then the third one, the third quality of an effective communicator is that I need to be the expert. Again, this one has also been mentioned from your feedback. I need to master my subject. I need to do my background check. I need to research, yeah, to be the best, to be the expert on that particular topic. So that comes with seeking knowledge, so that I can offer maximum value to my audience. The audience will always tell when we are well prepared. And I like saying this, that your audience will give you maybe a maximum of 2 minutes to be able to decide, are we going to listen to this person or are we going to switch off to something else? So they might be with you, but they might disconnect or fully connect with you. So the first few minutes are really, really important. And the only way we can make sure that we maximize that is to be able to offer maximum value to our audience all the way from the very beginning. So it's about mastering our content. And we are saying if you are an expert on the topic you're presenting, you will also feel confident and will be at ease. Yeah. And this confidence will reflect in the body language, in how you deliver, in the tone, and all that. So competent will always boost confidence. If I'm competent on that particular subject, then I'll be able to have higher level of confidence. And I'll also be able to reflect passion and all the other elements that we have mentioned. So leaders, these are the three qualities of an effective communicator. One, we're saying I need to be an APE, an audience-centered, passionate expert. Yeah, audience-centered, passionate expert. It's about focusing on the audience. It's about passion, and it's also about being the expert. Yeah. So there are 10 speaking competences that I just want to summarize, which again takes into account what we have already mentioned. One of the competences or how to deliver the message effectively is to have an engaging introduction. And I want to pose that as a question. How do you formulate an engaging introduction? Or what examples can you use as part of an engaging introduction? Yeah, I can pick a few reaction on this. Yeah, you can use a question. Yeah, thank you, Oliver. You can use a question. That's right. Yes, that's very important. A storyline. Yes, you can tell a story. You can use a riddle or a joke. Very true. Yeah, the only thing is that we have to be within the context and we have to understand our audience so that you know what is appropriate for your audience, so that I don't probably use use an introduction that maybe may not be able to match with my audience. So I need to understand my audience and be able to select the right introduction as part of engaging the audience. So use a riddle, use a joke, use a storyline. You could ask a question. You could have an icebreaker. Yeah, an icebreaker. You could also have probably some alarming statistics. Alarming meaning maybe some outstanding figures. Yeah, and that then from the figure now you tell the story. Yeah, so engaging introduction. Two, it's about mastery of the topic. We've mentioned that, so that we're able to connect with the audience, adapt to the audience. Leaders will not, there are times you'll prepare, and then you get to the meeting venue and you realize maybe the channel that you had selected may not be appropriate. You have your slides, you have your projection. You get to a place and you note that, wow, I cannot use my slides here. Here I have to just tell a story. I've been in such kind of scenario personally, where one time I was speaking to the students at the University of Nairobi, and when I got there, I realized I just need to tell a story. Yes, I have internalized my content, so I just need to have an engagement with the audience. Clear organization, very important. And that's why we said understand the purpose, how, and then what should they, what is the message that we are conveying. Well-supported ideas, sometimes is also good to have some credibility by comparing our thoughts with other people. So be able to refer, cite other materials. Clear and vivid language, the other paralanguage that we talked about, where need be, and it also to use corresponding nonverbal visual aids, convincing persuasion, and then closure and conclusion. It's important by the time we conclude any communication engagement, everybody should be able to clearly understand why the why of that message or the purpose of that message. It should be clear. We should not leave too much room for people to speculate. Why were we called for this meeting? It should be clear, and that comes in a closure in conclusion, and then preparation and practice. Very, very important. Every great speaker there is a story behind. I know one who used to do press ups just before speaking, just to get off, really minimize the fear, boost his energy, and help him just to be able to focus. And many others, some they have to look at the mirror, talk, and have a practice before getting to the stage. So it all comes with, again, with how well we practice, how well we prepare, and also how well we are able to master our topic. So those are some of the 12 competences. And allow me to summarize this by talking about the 7 C's of communication. Yeah, the 7 C's of communication that ensure that we communicate effectively. Yeah, that ensures we communicate effectively. So one is the issue of clarity. Clarity. I need to be clear about the goal of my message and the purpose of my message, and present that in a way that it's easier for the recipients to understand, to be able to clearly understand what was the goal of this engagement. So be clear about the goal of your message and the purpose of the message. That's clarity. 2, concise. We need to keep to the point and keep it short and simple without using unnecessary words, without repeating the same point in different ways. And again, we're saying this will also make any communication more engaging and also easier to understand. Leaders will not, the example I gave, sometimes you might realize this speaker has already conveyed the message, but the speaker is still going on. So you feel like anything beyond this point may not really add any value. So it's about knowing at what point have I conveyed the message, and then any other message could just be unnecessary unnecessary words. So we need to filter that. Concrete, yeah, we are saying be clear, not fuzzy. Sure, we give enough details to just pass the message, but again, not too much so that the recipient will get lost. Yeah, the message should also be factual. So we need to make our main points and ensure conclusions are clear to the recipient. This is what I mentioned, that closure in the conclusion. Just give what is adequate without, again, giving too much that might distort the information. Correctness, check the information you're providing to ensure it's correct. Be it written, we need to ensure it's free from grammatical and spelling errors. Imagine you're projecting on the screen there and there are a number of errors. Actually, they become the center of focus in some cases. So they become some sort of distractors. So we need to check again that, leaders, to ensure that our message is correct. Number 5 is coherent. Our message must be coherent. Yeah, there has to be a flow, a well-structured flow, logical flow. The points we are making should all be linked to the main topic and should help to be able to deliver the objective that we set out to achieve. So we need to use a structure to help us be able to communicate effectively. And this is what we are looking at even in the project proposal. That coherence, we are able to identify, this is the problem, this is the motivation, these are objectives, and then we address the objectives. Simply, that is all about the project proposal. Yeah. Then completeness, we ensure the recipient, they have everything they need to understand about the message and what action is required. If we need to make a call for action, it has to, again, be addressed. We're saying, let's not leave the recipient with a lot of questions to ask. And this could also be checked by asking some questions. And then courtesy. Yeah, our message should be polite, friendly, professional, open, and honest. We need to think about our message from a recipient's point of view. And we're saying this will help you to deliver the message in a way that's easy to understand. It shouldn't be judgmental. We should pass the message respectfully. We should pass the message politely. We should pass the message, more importantly, professionally. This is our guiding principle in this masterclass, because we deal with the leaders of all caliber. So one is that we have to respect the leaders, regardless of how sometimes the class might, the form or the format takes. It's about respecting the audience. It's about treating the audience professionally, respectively, and not judging them. Let the message we are passing be the judge, but not our words. We pass the message and allow the message to convey the rest. So leaders, just note this. I think this is a good check for you leaders, just to ensure that as you communicate, we ask ourselves, is my message clear? Is it concise? Is it concrete? Is it correct? Is it coherent? Is it complete? And also ensure that it's also we address the issue of courtesy. So finally, there is what we call communication stoppers. And these are things that we need to watch out for, because sometimes they block communication. They choke communication. They prevent us from getting more details in a conversation. So we need to watch out for these stoppers. Sometimes they come in unconsciously. We may not think about them so much, but they just keep on coming out from our communication. But I'm sure from now, this kind of a conversation, we'll be able to note where I've been using a stopper. Then slowly by slowly, I need to probably start addressing the stoppers that I need to watch out for. So we have some examples here, and I'll invite you to share any other additional stopper that probably you may think about. One is, this is the way it is. So the moment I say this is the way it is, it's done. That chapter is closed. That's a stopper. You are wrong. If I say you are wrong, then basically it means we are done. What's your proof? That's also another stopper. And the list continues. Yeah, if you say whatever, that again, too much of you, again, that could also be a stopper. So we can still communicate the same message you want to convey without really using stoppers. And you can even tell someone you are wrong in a way that may not stop the conversation. Will ensure that we continue to have that conversation until we agree or we get to the correct the correct view. So these are just some of the examples of communication stoppers. I don't know if you have any additional stoppers that you may think about. Yeah, that's final. Then it's done. Thank you, Joyce. That's final. That's a stopper. Yeah, I'm sure there are quite a number. If we just think about, reflect on, maybe some we have been using, but now from this point now we can see, wow, this has been a stopper that I need to watch out and probably start working around it gradually. Let's build on this list briefly as we conclude. I may be interested just to get a few stoppers from you. Yeah, I'm done. That's a stopper. Done with you, or I'm done. It's over. Too much of no. Yes, no. The moment I say no, again, that's a stopper. Yeah, mpaka sini mi na kushow. Like that. I request to leave at that. With nothing else to be added. Okay. Yeah, so period. We are done. It's just okay. Thank you, leaders. So think about maybe if you have been using any, then let's start thinking through and see how to address that. So finally, we're saying effective leaders know that effective communication is a critical success factor in every leadership situation. These are success factor, and that's why we want to make it very, very intentional on how we continuously develop in terms of our communication skills. So communication should be done on purpose. It should be active rather than passive. It should also be proactive in this particular area. And we have to take every opportunity to share our perspectives with an open mind. And again, we are saying lack of effective communication leaves too much room for imagination and speculation, and could also affect our success rate as leaders, how we are able to share our ideas, share, engage, or involve people in a particular project, in a particular activity, and even in supporting or in working together towards achieving your vision. That again is a major success factor. So I leave you with this quote by George Washington: when you can do the common things of life in a common way, you will command the attention of the world. Communication will set us apart, will really scale up our vision. Is a major, major success factor, as I've said. So let's purpose to be able to focus on this area because it will help us to be able to achieve uncommon success in a way that will propel our leadership to a higher level. With that, leaders, we conclude. We come to the end of the coursework, this being the last module. And I want to say Congratulations to all of you. This is a major milestone. Already I've seen some of you have already sent your final book summary. Yeah. So which again tells us that we're done with the book summary, we're done with the coursework. So next week, Thursday, we'll be done with the coursework, with the project proposal, and then we'll now have the final evaluation, which is an online evaluation, but we shall explain that next week on Thursday. So we want to conclude there. Then we just spend some few minutes just to reflect on the project proposal, and then we'll be able to close. Otherwise, I want to invite maybe some reaction on what we have covered tonight, and also by extension, you could also comment, not just for tonight, but a general comment as well before we look at the project proposal. And maybe for this case, I think it's just good to hear your reaction verbally if you're in a position to do that. And I invite you, and then if you're able to do that, please just share your reaction on this. You could also add a comment, yeah, because again, we are learning together on this, so could add a comment on what we have shared. Could I start with Christine? Then I move on to Doreen, then Jacqueline. If you're in a position to unmute and share. Christine, if you're in a position.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And again, congratulations to all of us. I didn't see this evening coming when we started. So I'm very, very grateful to God that He has helped us pull through to this point. I'm very grateful for tonight's topic, because in whichever academic forum I have been to, including what I'm currently studying, communication is a topic that is always taught. You begin from your bachelor's degree, you go all the way to doctorate, and you're taught about communication. So I think it's a very big self-reflection. For me, what I've taken in are those stoppers, because most times we say them in our subconscious mind, but they have a lot of impact on the people you're communicating to, especially those people who look upon you as a leader or as a mentor. So I think that's my carry home this evening, on how to work to improve on my stoppers in communication, and probably listen more as I continue to grow in my leadership journey. So thank you, Mwalim, for the topic, and thank you for all the sections we have had. We are not where we started. We are grateful, and we look forward. We don't know what we'll do next with our Thursday evenings. Please come up with something that we can keep doing. It has been a journey that you're looking forward to every week. So God bless you, and we shall keep talking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine. I know already you have built the momentum, the rhythm of meeting on Thursdays and Saturdays. Actually, we launched a new product, Strategic Leader. So we'll be sharing details on that as well. And maybe that's what you could consider. Doreen?
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. First of all, is to thank God for the time that we've been together, for the insights that we've shared, the courses, the topics. It has been impactful in my life, and in actually even the way I work. I've been able to gain a lot, especially in leadership, and I look forward to more impactful programs like this. For today's lesson about communication, I've seen communication is actually is a critical success for every leader, because you are able even to solve issues and also to give good direction to the people that you are guiding. So this course actually it has inspired me, and I'm just grateful. And to the team, thank you, and let's continue working together, because now we know each other, and let's build each other. Thank you, and good evening to everyone.
Thank you so much, Doreen. And I also thank you for bringing on 2 more people. Actually, we started a Monday class because we had some leaders who are ready to start. And Doreen, we appreciate you for your contribution. We shall be sharing the link for the next intake. Maybe you have someone already you want to refer. We shall share that so that you can be able to invite them. Jacqueline. Jacqueline, I see your message. Yeah, thank you. I'll look at your message on the chat. Michael.
Yes, so good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, so on my side, I would like also to say that this has been an impactful moment, personally, and also to considering even the work that we do, that is training. And I've learned quite a lot, even to employ in my career, in my life, in every leadership position in church. And this is something that I will live with, and also make it trickle down to any person that I come across. So I've really learned a lot, and I really thank this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'll move on to Mother, then Pastor Michael, then Elroy. Mother, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. On my end, I've learned that resilient is a key thing. When we were starting this journey, little did we know that we would be here at one point in time. But thanks to God that we have been through this program, very insightful, very helpful. And personally, I've carried along some of the things that I've learned through the leadership program into my workplace. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mother. Pastor Michael, welcome.
Thank you so much, and good evening, leaders. For me, this course has been amazing because it's not about theory. It's about things that you apply as you are learning. I've seen a lot of improvement in my relations with others around me. It's been amazing. Things that I've been ignoring, small details that make all the difference. I've learned so much. I'm very grateful to God and for this program. Like for today, 2 statements have really struck me, like seek to understand before you seek to be understood. A lot of times you want to be understood. A lot of times you're just full of, you just want to be heard, you want to express, you even forget the other person. But it's so amazing when you seek to understand the other person, and then also focus on the audience. What do you want them to understand? What is their need? Are you meeting their need? It's been so amazing. A lot of information has brought transformation in my own life. The way I view things, the way I relate with people. I think I'm now more down to earth and a better communicator in my everyday assignment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pastor Michael. I'll move on to Elroy, then Oliver, then Nancy Wamboy. Elroy, welcome.
First of all, tonight's session has been very wonderful. Yes, as Christina has mentioned, communication is something that I'm doing education, and communication is a very big part of it. And it's actually hammered into you over and over again. But communication is something that cannot only be learned; it has to be practiced. Otherwise, communication does not exist theoretically. Let me just leave it at that. And effective communication is very important. And any opportunity I get a chance to sit and listen and get knowledge on how people can come to know how to communicate effectively. I am very keen, and I listen and I take notes because it's a big part of who I am, hopefully professionally and even currently in my spheres of life, as I serve in church, as I lead my fellow students in school and whatnot. And overall, this course is very intriguing. Actually, I'm taking another leadership course that is being offered at our church, and it's a year-long course. And the same tenets that are in our notes and in our classes are the same things that I'm hearing in church. So it's good to know that atudanganyi, we are not being given shakahola vibes over there. It's something that other people have seen and know work and have been put down. And I also really like that this course is very Christian based. We keep going back to the word over and over again and referring to figures from the Bible. And yes, I have found it very impactful. It has been short, but hopefully after this, we might meet again somewhere. Hopefully, just crossing my fingers on that. And yeah, thank you very much for facilitating and for bringing amazing people to back you up. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elroy. Very encouraging comments there. In this class, you will note that our slogan is connect, learn, and belong. So once you are done with all the levels and you're done with the questionnaire, we shall add you to a bigger group where all the finalists belong. Yeah, so we belong to this network, and there are other activities that we normally do. Like every month, we have a monthly reflection by one of us from the network, sharing their own experience from their own profession. Like the last one we had on Saturday on intentional networking. So we have continuous learning. We shall include you in the network so that we continue to share. So Elroy will still be able, we still work together, we still be connected even beyond this. Thank you, Oliver. I see your comment on the chat. My take home is that effective communication is one of the main essential quality of a leader. It takes 80%. That's our role. Jacqueline, I see your comment. Thank you for this far. I thank God for the great moderation. It has been a journey. Yes, iron sharpens iron. I'm a better, and so far putting the lesson into practice. For today's topic, I strive to communicate effectively, and you've singled out 3 qualities of an effective communicator. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, Jacqueline. I'll move on to Nancy, then Mary, then Winfred. Nancy, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. First, I want to thank God for this far that He has brought us. And secondly, I want to thank the facilitators, the trainers who've been training us throughout the course. And I would say I've learned and relearned so many things. And these leadership classes have impacted so greatly in my life. whereby I find myself putting into practice what we've been learning, especially at my place of work. And for today's lesson, I think my take home was about the stoppers in communication, and also in effective communication, whereby you should be focused on the audience, you should be passionate, and also you should be an expert. I think I would say the program has impacted my life very greatly, and I'm looking forward to more engagement and more trainings. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Nancy, for that summary. Mary?
Yes, good evening, readers.
Good evening.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity. I don't take it for granted. And as a reader, I have learned a lot. Through meeting people in global leadership, it has been a goal achieved. Since I've been able to interact with people from different ethnic background and places, which I know it's also a God plan. Something that I've learned from the course that has helped me also to improve and will help me as time goes, and the effective communication. It's something that had been hindering me in my school as I've been leading the school, and the effective communication. And I've learned that effective communication is the foundation of successive leadership. And when we communicate with clarity, empathy, and openness, we usually create a positive and a productive environment that fosters collaborations and innovative growth upon the society. And as readers, we should learn to express the ideas and instruction in a clear and straightforward manner, since ambiguity usually leads to misunderstanding, which usually hinders our productivity. And again, listening, something that has affected me most. I want to be listened to, teachers want to be listened to. So that one has helped me to know that effective communication is a two-way process, and leaders must actively listen to their team members, understand their concern, and consider their input. And with this, it helps us to foster a sense of trust, gain respect within the team. Indeed, I have learned a lot, and I know with the knowledge that I've gained and skills, it also helped me to mentor others. And I wish this session should not be the only one, that we should expect some sessions or another more knowledge to be added apart from what we have gained in this leadership, because learning, I know, is a process. So if we continue being added little by little as time goes, since we are together in the team, I'll be very, very much more happy in that. Thank you, friends. Thank you, readers, for being together with us. I'm very grateful. And for our host, I'm really proud of this platform that you have helped us to merge and meet others. And may God bless you, and may He impart you more so that you can be able to enlighten the society. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. Mary, I like your resilience. I know at some point we were trying to figure out, you really needed to be in this class. A few things needed to be sorted out. And you kept on attending the classes, attending the Tuesday class, Saturday class, and here we are. So thank you. We shall also be inviting you to join any other cohorts that are ongoing. In case you missed any lesson, you will be able to catch up. So the moment we launch other cohorts, we shall be inviting you to join those other cohorts just for the purpose of learning as well.
I'll be very grateful.
Yeah, thank you. Good. So, Winfred, I've seen your message. Your network is not very stable. Regardless, I'm so happy that I was able to be consistent in attending the classes. I'm super grateful to God for seeing us through and for all the speakers that impacted greatly into our lives. I believe my life will not be the same again. And you're saying cheers and all the best to everyone. Thank you so much, Winfred. Then let me invite Josephine, then Anchege, George, and we conclude with Joyce. Josephine, welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I'm still moving. Yeah, but I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
I want to appreciate because yeah, it has been a learning time for all of us. When we started, it looked like a very long journey, and even for me, I thought, wow, Malisa. And for today, from where I sit, I see this short. What was I worried about? And of course, there's so much that we have learned, a lot. We have learned, and learned. And in regards to today's topic on effective communication, that is something that is very capturing when you see someone standing up to speak. The attention that draws you to them is how effective. Maybe they introduce themselves and they capture you for the rest of the moment, or how bad they introduce themselves and maybe you start writing them off from the onset. So it is a very pivotal thing for any communicator and even for us as leaders. And there are times I even wonder, are some people born effective communicators? Do they learn it, along the way? Or it's something that, one gets as they grow up? Because like Barack Obama, the one I've just found on the presentation when I joined, I mean, he's very charismatic. He's someone you want to listen to. You want to hear his next statement. You want to hear what he has in his speech, because there's something that captures you from the onset when they start to speak until when they finish, you are left wanting to hear more. And so many other leaders that we know about. And so it is something that we have learned, and there's something to still polish and become better communicators and more effective leaders even in our, not only in our places of work, but even how we interact with other people. Do we, the stoppers that we talked about, do we at times stop them from listening or even wanting to ask questions, but by how we are responding? So I appreciate every learning and everything that we have captured. And since we have our manual, it means we can still go back and review and even become better people. And some of us have concerned, we hope there is another class. We are already done with grade 1, now we can go to grade 2, which, we hope there are some more for us to learn, because learning never stops. So we appreciate everybody. We appreciate our facilitator. I'll say he's an effective communicator, because at no one time did we feel like the class was not moving in the right direction. So there's so much to learn from him and to become better people. So thank you, and God bless us all. We look forward to networking more and becoming better leaders every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. Really appreciate, and thank you also for your consistency and resilience. I know we started at cohort 32. We had a few things to sort out, and then you came back, and here you are. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to stop and then build momentum again. I think that's something to really commend you for, and thank you for keeping it to the very, very end. Really appreciate that. Okay, so let me move on to Anchege.
Good evening, leaders.
Good evening.
Yeah, I also want to take this opportunity and thank God for providing me with this opportunity to train with you. I can confess that I have built my capacity in leadership. I've learned a lot, and as I have educated, I now know who I am, where I will start, or where I've already started, and where I am going. I've also gathered a lot of information. I am in an education institution, and I'm in charge of the student council. And so I have a lot of information that I have gathered from the training that I can use to train the student leaders and how they're supposed to lead the whole institution. So I can say that to me, it has been an eye opener. And my thirst for training has not been fully quenched. So I'm also requesting, like the others, that the training continue so that we can be equipped well and we understand these things fully. I thank all members, all the other readers, all my classmates, and you, the host. And I wish that we continue with this training that we may understand our leadership roles better. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a nice evening.
Thank you so much, Anne Chege. I'm also happy to note that you're already using the content to be able to equip the students. That's a very, very important group. We're actually thinking about that group. We are working on a package. We are calling it Emerging Leaders, and that will target the schools and colleges so that we can equip them and prepare them. Really let them understand as early as possible that they are leaders and what is expected of them, and just build their capacity. So I'm sure we'll be able to collaborate with you the moment that product is out. Thank you. George, welcome. Okay, George, I don't know if you're able to share.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I start by congratulating each and every one of us who have managed to create time for this session. And I'm again grateful for this movement and Global Leadership Forum for creating space, time, and also resources and dedication towards building capacity in leaders. It's one of the areas that have been really neglected. I was challenging some of my friends, asking them how many institutions really take time to develop leaders, or you just given promotion and given a leadership position, but no much effort is done to capacity build the leaders. So I wish to thank you from the depth of my heart for coming up with this program. And I can assure you that this is a seed that you are really planting in us. I can already feel the need to even refer my team to come also to go through this. I can assure you that by the time we are able to harmonize leadership, we can really develop this nation and even ourselves to greater heights. I'm already applying the training, especially in the soft skills. You know, when you're in the corporate sector, delivering on the numbers and KPI is one of the key areas that forget that we equally need to align our teams and coach them towards, and also make sure that you influence them positively to ensure that you deliver the desired results. It has been an eye-opener, and how I wish that we are able to reach even many more people to ensure that they also become well-built and well-connected. Strive to good and impactful leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, George, and we appreciate. I know already you have requested for the link so that you can invite your team, and we'll be working on that. Okay, Joyce, welcome.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to share what experience has been. So I know you guys in your working areas, you have encountered these leaders who are always quiet and only give directives. I was that kind of a leader before I started this class. But after I started, I have learned to communicate effectively to my teammates, and even this has helped them to open up and discuss different ideas with me. I've also learned to accept mistakes as a leader because I now believe that no one is perfect, even in our leadership careers. And it was a good pleasure. It was a pleasure knowing you guys and interacting with you. And I hope that we'll have more sessions like this in the future. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph.
Wow, thank you, Joyce, for the feedback. That's really the essence of this conversation, that we're able to pick a few things, run with them, implement, and just create that environment that people feel they belong, they matter, and they're there to make a contribution. We'll stop there for tonight. I'll just do a very quick check without having a long conversation in terms of the project proposal. Next week on Thursday, we'll have the final project proposal, and each team will have 10 minutes. Yeah, and the 10 minutes will just be able to share your progress. One thing, leaders, is that we understand we are constrained of time. So there's how much we can cover. We'll try as much as possible, see what we can be able to cover. If the topic you're focusing on, you feel you want to take it beyond the masterclass, again, we can have another conversation on how to help you beyond the masterclass. But within this time, there's a particular issues, particular qualities that we wanted to build as we undertake the project proposal, and we'll do an evaluation next week on Thursday just to see how we are fared on that. Otherwise, we have received a number of you have already shared your proposal, and we'll be giving you feedback in the course of the week. We'll also, if there are areas that we need you to improve, to add some more content, we'll be able to share with you. So team one, Pastor Michael, Christine, Ann Chege, and Mother, I request you to share your progress with me. Pastor Michael, maybe you could confirm in terms of your progress.
Yes, sir. We've done up to the objectives. We've done from. So what we are remaining with is the implementation. The implementation part. That's where we are now.
Okay, that's okay.
Yes.
Request you share with me. If we can be able to discuss one of the objectives by one or two of the objectives by next week, Thursday, that would be fine. But let's see how much we can be able to cover. So kindly share through email. I'll give you some feedback.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Team 2, Winfred, Ernest Chege, and Josephine. I will also request you share your progress with me. I know Winfred was on board, but she indicated there was a challenge with the network. Chege was also on board. Josephine, are you able to comment in terms of your progress? Okay, I think I'll get in touch with yes, Josephine?
Yeah, I may not give so much information, but we had the topic and we had started on it. We have not, had a sitting this week, so we can catch up with you later on how far we are individually and corporately as a group.
Yeah, thank you, Josephine. That's okay. So let's have an offline communication, and then you can share your progress as well. Team 3, George, I've received your submission. I think in terms of the proposal, this is adequate. I know you may not, because from the approach, from what I see, you may not now be able to implement this. So let's refine it, ensure the proposal is well done. If there are areas that we need to enhance, then I think this is one of the topic that I would encourage you to go beyond the class. So I'll share my comments with you, and then I will agree on the way forward. George, I believe that's okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Your guidance is highly welcome, and we needed to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I move on to cohort 35. Team 1, Doreen, Joyce, and Elroy. Doreen, okay, we had Doreen with us. Maybe there is a network challenge. Elroy, any comment on your project proposal so far? Okay, Elroy is not with us as well. Maybe Joyce. Joyce, are you able to share a comment on your project?
Not really, sir.
Okay, I think I'll also follow up with Doreen, but you can also engage with her, and then you can share your progress. Team 2, we have Peter, we have Oliver, and we have Gladys. Peter, you could also mention in terms of your progress.
Okay, so we were supposed to embark on methodology. So we are going to compile the work that we have done and share with you.
Okay, thank you, Peter. So just share at whatever level you are, just feel free to share. Then we'll continue to engage so that by Thursday we'll have covered some good ground. Team 3, Jacqueline, Nancy, and Michael have received your submission. So I think that is on my end to share my comments with you. So with that, leaders, I want to again say thank you so much for your commitment and also for your sacrifice. I know it's a sacrifice. When we started, I said the real cost for this program is time. And here we are, being able to be very consistent. We've committed this time to be able to learn together. And from the testimonial, I think we are not where we were. We are better in terms of skills, in terms of how we are leading our teams, and also in terms of self-leadership. I believe we are all doing quite well. So we'll stop there. We'll do a reminder so that next week, Thursday, we come together, cohort 33, cohort 34, and cohort 35. We'll focus only on project proposal. And then after that, we'll do a team review to see how we are fared as a team. And then we'll give you some few updates, and that will be it. There are dates that we request you to note. One of the dates that we request you to note is 19th of August. We have a TOL training, Trainers of Leaders, and we're inviting you to consider joining that session because we might have another one next year. So if you're able to join this one so that you become part of the facilitators of this program, please consider and register. We had already shared the link. Secondly, please note 25th of November this year. That will be the day, the graduation day. So please note that date, 25th of November. will be the graduation day. I will give you more details as we continue. Otherwise, we'll stop there unless there is any observation, any comment, any question. Okay, then if there is none, I want to pause there and request Mr. Mwangi. Mr. Mwangi, if you're in a position, or Kristen, you have a comment?
Yeah, I think I hadn't paid attention to the link. Is that the training day, is it virtual or it's a physical?
It's a physical training.
Where is the venue?
The venue will be at Bomb Blast, Bank House, next to Bank House.
All right.
The famous bell bottom.
Okay, it's good to know for planning purpose. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll also maybe share the flyer with you just to have more details with you. Good. So, Mr. Mwangi, you could just say hi and pray for us as we adjourn for tonight.
Thank you, Chairman. Greetings, leaders, and congratulations. This far you have come. That was a real stretch. We thank God for you, the 3 cohorts, 33, 34, and 35, having come to an end of this training. But learning continues. You retain your cohorts for purposes of coordinating and networking. And therefore, we look forward to a happy graduation, even as we break for this week. Let us pray. God our Father, we want to thank you tonight. This being the last session for this training, we want to thank you for having given these leaders an opportunity to be partakers of this program. We also pray that what they have learned will help them to grow in their areas of work, in their fields, in their respective homes and churches, and wherever else they find their leadership skills being required. We commit them, dear Father, unto your hands, that the resources that they have used will be restored threefold. God Almighty, Father, I want to thank you for our facilitator, Mr. Kiari, and all other facilitators who have taken part in this program. Dear Father, we want to thank you for the good health, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we have been able to share throughout this training. We look forward to better our lives through this training, and even to create more leaders in our areas, dear Father. How we thank our families who have given us the opportunity to be part of this training. We also take the opportunity to thank you, Lord, for the employers where these leaders are working, that they'll be given an opportunity to perform, to better their leading skills that they have acquired through this training. We want to commit this night unto you, O Lord, even as we look forward to another brighter day tomorrow. God our Father, we will say thank you for the good health. We want to say thank you for all those who have facilitated this training, that Lord, it shall be well. Even the upcoming cohorts that are ongoing, Father, we commit them that they are going to achieve what the training offers them tonight. And then we look forward also to a better, to a day of graduation, that the days ahead of us, dear Father, will enable us to plan for the graduation of these leaders. That will be in November. Thank you, dear Lord. This far we have come. This we pray, trusting in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Shall we unmute and